What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk of the Tundra, a proud partner of the Eurostep Podcast Network and the Blue Wire family. I am your host, Numac, and coming to you with another podcast this week for the game against the rival Chicago Bears. Packers looking to get a season sweep of those Chicago Bears this Sunday. And joining me to talk about that rivalry matchup is Jordan. George Rusky, how you doing, buddy?
Do well. Let's talk about the storied rivalry that created and established the National Football League. When these two teams come together and play a football game, it's usually when one team is great and the other team is bad. And now both teams are dog shit. So I'm ready.
It's
Ready
not
for the magic.
it's not great.
No. I cannot be. I think we talked about it the first Bears game, but in my lifetime, and sorry if I'm repeating myself, my lifetime, the team that I associate as the Packers' biggest rivals have always been the Vikings.
Right.
Because A have had multiple playoff games against them in the last like 20 years. Can name two or think of two already.
hmm
Maybe a third one. Um there's just so much more interconnected. Obviously, far going to from the Packers to the Vikings. Granted, he had a
Right.
year in New York in between there, but like both teams have been competitive and have toggled back and forth with winning divisions when both teams have been good. But yeah, I don't know. It's I have a very weird experience with this whole Packers Bears rivalry when it's anything but a rivalry, really.
Right. It's been a one-sided the past couple decades, but that doesn't mean there hasn't been good Bears teams in there to make it like good games. Like the year the Packers won the Super Bowl, they had to go to Chicago and beat the. Pretty sure the Bears were the one seed that year. Maybe the two. No, they were the two seed because they Packers beat the Falcons in Atlanta because they were the six seed.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, not it's not to say that the either team is good this year. They're both stinky, stinky, stinky poo poo. Um, but before we get into that, we have some cheese to give out. As always, uh, cheese board can be found on the Substack, which can be found on gspn.info. Otherwise, you could just scroll my Twitter or the Talk of the Tundra Twitter at Packers GSPN to see it posted every Thursday when it gets dropped. So, hopping in this week. The first cheese we're going to hand out is to, once again, Christian Watson. Another big game from him. 4 receptions, 110 yards, and a touchdown. A lot of that coming on the big touchdown from Jordan Love. But still, if you score a touchdown and go over 100 yards, you're probably getting a cheese. And he was kind of like the biggest bright spot of that game. On
He has permanent entry into the Mars Cheese Castle at this rate.
I don't. I'm lucky for him. I would love to have a season pass for the Mars Cheese Castle. Next up is Aaron Jones. Uh, he had if I can do math pretty quickly here. 97 yards total and a touchdown. So, uh, 12, 12 carries, 3 receptions. All in all, this is a good Aaron Jones game. Uh, Next up is AJ Dillon. He had 8 carries for 64 yards, and then three receptions and 24 yards. So 88 total yards, and the touchdown that was on the 20-yard, like the first touchdown, the 20-yarder. So just a good running back game overall from them. Was really kind of the highlight of the Aaron Rodgers led offense during that game.
True. Though it was, I think we said it, or I probably said it post Sunday night game. Probably the best has been like a 1-2 punch, the kind of 1-2 punch that we thought it would be going
All
into the year.
season. Yeah,
Yeah, it
really,
only took week 12 to see that.
yeah,
Ugh.
good game planning. And
Yeah.
receiving a cheese, by the way, all of those were monsters as we make sure we reference.
Prone to do.
Uh, Another cheese to hand out, and it's not a good one. Receiving his
Give it to him.
well overdue
Do it.
Limburger cheese is Joe Barry. Just an abysmal, no good, bad, just atrocious game plan for the Philadelphia Eagles, who in total had 500 yards of offense on Sunday, which included 153 yards through the air from Jalen Hurts and 157 of those, or 157 yards on the ground from him. Two, what are in essence 150-yard rushers is bad, and this has been a theme throughout the season where Joe Barry just can't design a game plan for a powerful run game, and he can't design a passing game defense or a run game defense for the same game. So this was the straw that broke the cheesemaker's back, and he deserves that Limburger cheese. So he sits at -1 for the year. So going through the cheese board after 12 games now, still the leader in the Mars Cheese Castle is also no free ads, Jordan. I made a mistake.
Sorry.
No free.
Sorry.
This isn't sponsored. Probably should walk that back.
Unnamed Cheese Castle
is Aaron Jones with 9. Christian Watson, Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary all have 4. So Christian Watson joins that group of defensemen or of edge rushers, having pretty good seasons despite his resurgence late. With 3 is A.J. Dillon, Devondre Campbell, Jair Alexander, Romeo Doubs, Rudy Ford. And then with 2, Aaron Rodgers, Elton Jenkins, David Bakhtiari, John Runyon, Kenny Clark, Keyshawn Nixon, Pat O'Donnell, Randall Cobb, Rasul Douglas, and Quay Walker. And rounding out the list with 1 is Alan Lazard, Eric Stokes, Darnell Savage, Jerron Reed, Chris Barnes, Mason Crosby, Bobby Tunyon, Sammy Watkins, and Zach Tom. And then now truly rounding out the cheese board is Joe Barry with -1. And I don't think he could do anything ever that would make me want to give him a cheese this season, so he'll probably stay negative.
No.
Sadly.
Yeah.
So let's hop into this game this Sunday, noon o'clock game, probably on Fox if I was a betting man. NFC games are always on Fox.
Yep.
We'll start with the injury report because it's pretty prevalent for both sides, and we'll talk about a fateful Packers quarterback last on this list, and then kind of get into the offense. But for the Packers, your typical DMPs today, Wednesday, were David Bakhtiari, Elton Jenkins, Darnell Savage, and then Aaron Rodgers. Like I said, we'll talk about him later. But for notably on that list of, or notably not on that list of DMPs, were Romeo Doubs and Devondre Campbell, who were both limited in their practice today, which is a good sign coming out of both of their injuries. I think Devondre's was a knee, and then obviously the ankle from Romeo Doubs.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice getting them back if they are coming back. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Devondre practiced last Friday and then was ruled out of the game. So I think he's trending upwards. So then, more for the Packers injury report. A.J. Dillon has a quad injury. He's limited. I'd assume that's just wear and tear kind of stuff. And then Aaron Jones is also limited with a shin and glute injury, which I guess obviously isn't related, but a shin and a glute injury sounds like some not fun lower body pain.
No. Interconnected.
Maybe. Your butt and your shin might not be connected.
Well,
it
takes a while to
got a big butt if it's connected.
Yeah. You gotta
we're just short of 10 minutes and we're getting to butt talk, so everything's going just fine. Full participants in practice were Rudy Ford with a wrist injury, Shamar John Charles with an ankle, so maybe he's back.
That's an upgrade.
Yep. And then Chris Barnes, who had a hand injury. I don't know when that surfaced, but he was a full participant.
Also, that A.J. Dillon injury would track with how he left the game.
Yeah, he left hobbled.
Yeah,
it wasn't like
that helicopter.
Yeah, we talked about that on Sunday, where it wasn't
Yeah.
like a I'm in very much pain hurt kind of walk. It was
It wasn't
I'm
he
trying to
yeah, it
shake
was,
this off walk.
yeah.
So
Hmm.
hopefully ends up playing after having a good game last week, and that the Packers use him in the offense this week with the bad Bears run defense. But we'll get there, people. For the Bears, most notably, is Justin Fields with a shoulder injury. He was limited in practice today, so he sat out last week, trying to just give that shoulder some extra rest time before trotting him out there. No reason for him to really stress that injury, considering they're not really playing for much. Like having a better draft pick is better for that team, so might as well just keep him safe and not push it. Uh, the rest of the way is Larry Borum, their offensive lineman. He did not participate with an ankle and knee injury. Jaquan Brisker, their DB, has a concussion. He did not participate. Um, the Chase Claypool, the wide receiver they acquired from the Pittsburgh Steelers, has a knee injury. He is limited in his participation in practice. Kyler Gordon, their other DB, beside that isn't what's his name now? I'm forgetting his name.
Eddie Jackson.
That isn't Eddie Jackson. Has a
The
concussion as
corner that
well.
isn't Eddie Jackson.
Right. Is has a concussion as well. So both their starting corners in Jaquan Brisker and Kyler Gordon have concussions. That is in addition to Eddie Jackson, who suffered a season-ending ankle injury this past Sunday. So their DBs are absolutely dwindling.
Yeah.
um, Dante Pettis was out sick with an illness. I'm sure he'll be fine then. Well, not to hopefully, but you know what I mean. We don't know for sure. It says non-COVID illness. So Riley Reef was a DMP offensive lineman for them. The back injury. Trevor Siemian hurt himself in practice or in warm-ups on Sunday. He did not participate in practice. So with that, they signed old Packers quarterback Tim Boyle to their practice squad just in case.
Um, do they not have a third string? Is he their
No, Nathan Peterman was their third stringer.
Oh my god, I
Yeah.
forgot
So if
about
Fields
that.
can't play, they'll probably uh upgrade Tim Boyle,
Or start
or they'll just
Peterman.
keep Boyle, or they'll just keep Simeon and Peterman. But if on the off chance that both Fields and Simeon can't go, then they'll like play Peterman and upgrade Boyle. And then another DV was limited. Kindle Vildor has an ankle injury for the Bears, and then rounding out um their injury report was Sterling Weatherford. Their linebacker had a concussion, but he is a full participant in practice, which
What a
is just
collection of names.
yeah, it's better than last week when I was really struggling through it. But
Larry Borum. I love that name. Sorry.
Sterling Weatherford was a full participant, similar to how Christian Watson got taken out of the Bills game, I think it was, with a concussion, but was a full participant in that Wednesday. That's just the CBA rule, where if you
Yeah,
get
that's
taken
right.
out, you have to be on the injury report despite being a
Yeah.
full participant. So
Okay.
that rounds out the injury report. A little lengthy for both teams, but worth noting that Eddie Jackson's out for the year. Darnell Mooney is also out for the year. He had season-ending surgery too. So,
Khalil Herbert.
yep, Khalil
Out
Herbert's also
multiple
out for
weeks,
them.
if not the whole season at this point.
Right. So the Bears are banged up, like banged up Bears, BUBs,
Bub.
Bubs. So we'll get into the impact of that. We'll talk offense, defense. Couple of like really not so important updates from the Packers. They released Jonathan Abram, the former Raiders first round pick, who was they
Got claimed too.
he got claimed again.
He got claimed by the Seahawks, which
I mean, I guess like
he's getting claimed upwards.
yeah, good for him. I don't know why like the Packers would have cut him. Like I don't they're to go with that. They also restructured Dean Lowry's contract to convert some of his base salary into a signing bonus. I don't know what they plan on doing with that. Like, because I imagine they paid Jonathan Abrams something, and then
Yeah.
cleared some money from Dean Lowry's contract. maybe they're working on
doing Rust
something.
Ball things.
Yeah. All we know is Odell's not coming this year, so we don't gotta be worried about that train. Um, so that's really it for the injuries and updates. As we talked about, we'll hop right into the offense and we'll talk about Aaron Rodgers and his injury. Um, I'm pretty sure. Let's see here on the injury report, he has a right thumb and rib injury. So, right thumb has been bothering him all year since the Giants game, and the rib obviously was sustained during the Eagles game on one of those drives. And Rodgers said, I think either in his presser today, I think it was in his presser today, that his initial thought coming out of the locker room when he didn't have any of his gear on was he thought for sure that he had like internal organ damage, which is like it's not great. Like definitely don't want to be trotting out there with internal organ damage.
Huh.
So, well, we're just happy that he didn't have a lung punctured or a lacerated liver. Yeah, we'll get there, Jordan.
Football.
Jordan, we'll get there. We'll get there. So I guess we can start there. Is he's obviously hurt. This has been the entire conversation Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, all day Wednesday as they've practiced.
Happy days.
Okay, Fonzie.
Hey.
Is whether or not Rodgers should be shut down or if he should play. Coming out of the x-rays on Monday, he said that they got good news out of his x-rays and he plans on playing against the Bears this week, which is hard to navigate and is by no means has one answer, right? Because like as much as we want it to be black and white, there's personal issues here, right? Not personnel, like AL personal issues, and how the organization has handled Rodgers and his just persona in the past. This is from Ryan Wood today after probably his post-practice conference. Ryan Wood, this is his tweet, asked Aaron Rodgers how he'd feel if Packers wanted to give Jordan Love a couple starts to finish the season. Rodgers says he hopes to finish the season out, but would approach it with, quote, an open mind if team doesn't want to win final 5 games. And then Rodgers said...
What?
What part didn't you understand?
If team doesn't want to win
he would approach allowing Jordan Love to start if team doesn't want to win final 5 games. So like if they're eliminated essentially.
Oh.
So he said, this is a quote from Rodgers. Quote, look, I'd love to finish the season out, but I understand this is a business and there's a lot of us kind of older guys who play a decent amount and they might want to see some younger guys play. Hopefully we don't have to have that conversation, but if that conversation comes up, I'll approach it with an open mind without any bitterness or resentment. Obviously, like I said, I want to win out, and then we don't have to have those conversations, but I understand if we don't, that it's possibly but I understand if we don't, that it's a possibility to have that conversation. So, at least he knows, like, the circumstances, right? Like... He understands that the importance of getting Jordan Love reps so that the organization knows what they have in him, which like I know you want to see and what a lot of us want to see, but I think there is that balance there that they have to navigate.
Yeah. And as Aaron Rodgers very repeatedly points out, it's important to have an open mind on many things,
including 9/11, according to Deshaun Kaiser.
Yeah. Anyway, I understand this viewpoint. It's not the only conversation we're probably going to have this about. We're going to probably talk about this with Aaron Jones. Devondre Campbell is kind of another one because it's like, okay, he's coming back from injury. How much are you really needing him back when the season's a lost cause at this point? On and on and on. but it's because it's the quarterback position. It is Aaron Rodgers. It's also Jordan Love. And as we kind of had touched at various points in the season, when you get to this point where things have just gone off the rails, season is what it is at this point. You look for anything to give you comfort in the future, to see where a guy's development is. It's why Christian Watson coming on this at this stage is so, it's a breath of fresh air, because it lightens up a little bit of the mood that you're like, hey, it's not just a long-term project. It's like you're getting immediate rewards after a kind of a shaky start that was bogged down by multiple, injuries, and the overall usage with him was kind of lackluster too. So like Romeo Dobbs can be thrown in that category as well. You just want to see the young guys play and see them do well. Just see what you have in them. And Jordan Love has been the elephant in the room forever since he got drafted by the Packers. And as much as they have been able to thread this needle for as long as they kind of massaged the choppy waters that were brewing for multiple months and years between Rodgers and the organization, specifically Gutekunst and the whole thing about communication and everything like that. It's reaching its natural endpoint at this point, even with all the contractual stuff that obviously exists and you can't get over it. From a pure football standpoint and where we are at the season, Jordan Love should be playing. It's that simple.
I think from an organizational standpoint, you're 100% right, and I agree with you. Like,
Yeah,
taking away all of the emotion out of it makes it a pretty cut and dry situation to resolve. The issue is that you have a notoriously emotional quarterback, and
it's an emotional decision.
It's an emotional decision because, like, say Rodgers doesn't want to keep playing, like he's hurt, he's kind of over it. This was a trying year, just not something he wants to continue with. Say he wants to retire. Like, if that is the case, it'd be his last game with players he's really close with, including like Bakhtiari and Big Dog and Aaron Jones and whoever else, like whoever was close on the team. Yeah, Cobb, sorry. And it being like that Eagles game being the last one that he like goes out on, I don't think it's something that he is like okay with ending on, if that makes sense. Like I can understand like not riding off of the sunset because a Super Bowl seems pretty far fetched at this point. But at least going out on your own
Packers
terms.
uniform, yes.
Right. Exactly, in a Packers uniform, yes. But not having the decision in your own hands when it comes to how you finish your career and having it be ended by an injury would probably leave a significantly sour taste in Rodgers' mouth.
Well, this is also, I mean, to that point, it is why the whole pick stuck in his craw, because it replaced injury with, oh, they're going to trade me, or they're going to release me, or whatever.
Right.
Because he wants to control let me rephrase how I was going to say this, because it's not as much as it is. Anyway, he has been, based on everything that he's done for the Packers over the years, especially the last few years where he's had this amazing resurgence and arguably played his best football of his career. He wasn't the same quarterback where prime Aaron Rodgers doing the things that have kept the Packers relevant for basically since he started for the team.
Right.
He has had put himself to such a standard where he can be given such a heavy influence in team decisions, stuff that they normally you would never associate with the Packers. It's a pure business decision. You saw many of the Super Bowl content or members that made that year and just the whole McCarthy era. When you think of it, you think of Clay Matthews, you think of Jordy Nelson, you think of Donald Driver,
Nick Collins.
kind of Nick Collins, like all the greats that came out of that, along with Rodgers and everything like that. They succumbed to, you guys are getting old. You're not producing the same way you are. We're, you know, the linemen that they cut, like Justin, TJ Lang, all that stuff. They were very cut and dry. Like, this is a business. You guys can find bigger money elsewhere. And we saw how that went.
Truthfully,
Rodgers,
it kind of worked out with the Packers on those things. Like Bulaga and Sitton did not have very good careers after they left.
I mean, there's the only people that you could really say that it bit them in the butt was like Micah Hyde.
Yeah. Micah Hyde, Casey Hayward, and Zadarius Jones. Or yes. Zadarius Smith. I don't know why I said Jones.
Zadarius Smith, yes.
He's having a good year, so yeah. I'll go ahead.
But to that end, as much as you are able to kind of, you know, see out this, how you want to end that story, at the story of your playing career, things just happen where it's going to necessitate you to make an action about, am I going to play another year in Green Bay? Am I going to just retire? Am I going to do, I don't know. Is he going to force himself? Like, I don't know. You could still arrive at a very ugly ending where you're just taking a few detours to it. But if anything, it's probably going to get uglier because there was such a commitment to not just Rodgers and his contract and all that stuff, but because there were decisions that were decidedly made because Rodgers said so. Right. So that's where the web just gets so messy.
Right. Rodgers has always said he wanted to play until he was 40. He just turned 38. So I think that he will play next year, or maybe he just turned 39. I don't know. I think on Spotrac it says it's age 39 season.
I think he's about to turn 39.
I think so.
His birthday is coming up because it's Rodgers, Giannis.
Yeah, because it's in. Yeah, he turns 39.
This coming week?
No, Friday.
Right. Oh, happy birthday, Aaron.
Happy early birthday. But he wanted to play till he's 40, and I think that is what is going to happen. I think he comes back next year and has like a last ride, essentially. That it won't be the last ride like it was for MJ and Pippen or any of that kind of stuff, but I think that'll just be his last season because the Packers do have a potential out of his contract after next season, where they only have to eat $24 million dead cap, as opposed to like $100 million dead cap if they cut him or if they trade him next year. So I think he just plays out the rest of next year. They pick up Jordan Love's 5th year, regardless of what they see now, and then they just kind of roll the dice on Jordan Love's 5th year. And if he's good, he's good, and if he stinks, he stinks, and then Packers go on forward. But yeah, the emotional aspect of it is just lends itself to if Rodgers gets benched, essentially, like if they shut him down for the season, if they lose this week or get eliminated from the playoffs,
which they have done before when in the rare instances this has happened.
Yeah, like if he gets shut down after this week, if they get eliminated from the playoffs, I think for sure he comes back. But if he goes the rest of the year, there might be a reason that he might not come back. Like, there's 59 million reasons I'd expect him to come back next year. Or I would expect him to come back next year. But we'll see. And I think that if at the very least, it's weird saying I hope we get eliminated, but I really kind of do. That we get better draft pick and do whatever, because we need to see what Jordan Love looks like. Have him win this week against the Bears, get eliminated regardless because of tiebreaker issues and things like that, than just start Jordan Love for the last 4 games.
Yep.
I think that's like the best course of action. That way, Rodgers can have his not ego, but his what do you want to say, just pride in beating the Bears twice in a season again,
Yep.
as we like to see him do. But then we also get 4 games of Jordan Love and seeing what he actually is capable of against quality teams too. Like it's not against crap teams. They go um, after they have a bye after this week, and they go Rams, Lions. I'm sorry, Rams, Dolphins, Vikings, Lions. So like
Mhm.
3 out of those 4 teams are well, half of them are good. Rams aren't good this year, but the
Yeah.
Vikings and Dolphins obviously are. So you'd have a good mix of seeing Love against a good defense and a bad defense, and just seeing where he falls in the middle there. So
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's obviously a bigger conversation that we'll have off season time.
yeah,
But I think because of how things just went so awry very quickly, and that I mean, the Cowboys win is the only win that they've had in uh 2 months. You know what I mean? Like they haven't been
yeah,
able to stop the Avalanche. I don't think it's that crazy to say that if Rodgers does come back to play, like I don't think he's I don't think his season is a product of aging or just one reason. He's certainly an older quarterback, but he's also susceptible to injuries and has been throughout his career.
yeah.
So it's just a matter of things breaking right or not breaking.
Breaking wrong.
That breaking wrong. That he can sustain himself over a hell or for over a season. The Packers, fix the personnel issues that they have, but it's
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Again, topics, conversations
For the
for the off
offseason.
season.
Yeah. So with that, let's talk a little bit about the offense just in general for this week. Going to be important that whichever quarterback does play can maximize their opportunities that open up in the passing game because of the run game. Like we're kind of like it's a weird shift to go into whole game planning now. I recognize that, but this is the best way to do it. Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon need to be the biggest parts of this game plan this week. They did so well in the first game against the Bears this year. They did so well last week against a stout Eagles defense. Just keep riding them. Like if Aaron Rodgers is hurt, like he is, and is playing this game, all the more reason just to run the ball.
Yeah.
Like don't get Rodgers hurt more and make him work more while he's hurt like this when you know you can have success running against the Bears.
I mean, that was week 2,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep, and we still had hope.
Yeah, hope. What a
Sammy Watkins was the leading receiver that game.
what?
He had 3 catches for 93 yards.
Man. Do you have the rushing yards in front of you for
Of that,
that game?
for that game, yeah.
So
Aaron Jones had 132 and AJ Dillon had 61. So they both like had significant success running the ball.
yeah, knocking on the door of 200 rushing yards between those two. I mean, that's the thing, and as you talked about, not just in injuries, but Bears have also traded Roquan Smith, their top tier linebacker, or former, Robert Quinn, significant subtraction from the line.
Mm-hmm.
This is a thin Bears defense that you could easily just run all over them.
Right.
And yeah, as I do think we'll see a very run heavy focus. Hopefully the game doesn't get away from him, because that's certainly when LaFleur's eyes gets elsewhere. But yeah, it's just
So you're exasperated, and I can already tell that you're sick of the game plan. And my idea in my head is they're gonna get baited into passing the ball because all the corners are out for the Bears.
Which I don't.
I have a problem with it.
I have a problem. It's a
I have a problem with it.
it's a problem. But we're
Unless
also
Jordan
talking.
Love plays, like we are
Yes.
operating under the understanding that Aaron Rodgers is like probably playing this week with his fractured thumb and bruised ribs.
Internal bleeding.
Right. Not actually, but get the point. That this is probably
Sorry.
he said on
He thought
Sunday.
he had internal bleeding.
Yes. And he's playing football on Sunday.
And he wants to play Sunday.
He really is just Brett Favre. Like you live you die soon enough or you die I can't think of the quote.
You live long enough to see yourself become the villain or something like
Yeah,
that. Right?
whatever the first half of that quote is. He became Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Just hopefully we don't see him selling ayahuasca for at-risk kids or something.
Yeah. Or the last memory of Favre of him just getting pile drived into a frozen TCF Bank Stadium field because that was when the Vikings were playing outdoors.
Yeah.
And it was just like, you are old.
You are old. Regardless, if they do pass the ball, I have a problem with it because it will show that they aren't committed to like running the ball when that's really all they should be doing against the Bears. Because like running the ball.
What kind of passing? Because the Bears are so
thin at cornerback.
Yeah, let's just say thin. Are we talking about like trying to make the big plays happen, or are we talking about the little like bubble screens or the little things that you hope like yak?
I want them to pass the ball down the field, but I don't want passing the ball. I don't want them to have more passes than runs. Like that's what I'm talking about when I say this. Like, yes, they need to pass the ball at some point in the football game, but I want a run first offense this week because you can have so much significant success with Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon that it makes those passes that much easier to have success on. Like they should be able to run all over the Bears this week, just like they did in week 2.
Yeah.
And then from there, let Rodgers have an easier time throwing the ball this week. Like, and just go out there and win the game rather than go out there and like kill them by 40. Because I don't think they're going to be able to do that because they're just not that good of a team.
No.
But
that's the thing is that their offense, as much as things have been playing them, their offense has been kind of trending upwards.
It has
since the Lions game.
After the Lions game, like since the Cowboys game, is what I would say. Yeah. I get your point. I agree, but I just really don't want Rodgers throwing the ball 30 times because I don't know what that wear and tear on him is going to look like. Because he said that, like during the game on Sunday, that initial drive after he got hurt, he couldn't rotate his upper body because his ribs hurt so bad.
What the?
And so he's.
Every detail you tell me, it's making me more angry. That's the other, so because of if he's playing begrudgingly, they have to protect him, which is why you're playing a game in 1930. You're going Red Grange on their ass.
Right.
And you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, why put your quarterback in that position if he's playing to, hey, Aaron, let's air it out, buddy.
Yeah, I'm fine with if they do that. They just need to have like the run first offensive game plan. That's all I ask. If it's balanced, that's fine too. But the difference between passes and runs shouldn't be heavily pass, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And like the other one last little note on the offense before unless you have anything else is like this is a good opportunity if Romeo Doubs plays to get more reps with Rodgers, like as a full wide receiving core before he possibly gets shut down for the year. So like it'd be another opportunity to build that relationship into next year. Like that's another one of the small arguments of letting Rodgers play this week.
Yep. So I mean, the healthiest the wide receiver core has been all year,
Yeah.
too.
If
Outside of
Dobbs
maybe
plays,
week
it'll be
one.
the healthiest they've played. Nope, because Lazard was at week 1.
That's right. And Watson was coming into it blind, basically.
Yep. So yeah,
Wow.
if Dobbs is healthy, it'll be the healthiest wide receiving room has been all year long.
Ah,
So we'll see.
yeah.
So should we go into the defense? Talk about them.
Let's do it.
Uh, they just need to be focused. Like that was the main thing coming out of last week, right? Like they just missing tackles. Matt LaFleur said uh, that they had 20. He counted 22 missed tackles in that Eagles game, which is abysmal. They had the Eagles had 28 uh 28 passing attempts and 49, we'll call it 50 for math's sake, rushing attempts.
So
So
one out of
77
two.
77 total plays and 22 missed tackles. That's not good. That's like almost one every 2-3 plays. No, one every 3 and like a quarter.
Yeah.
So yeah, they need to just work on their tackling, and they just need to be coached better, which isn't going to happen this season unless they would lose to the Bears. Oh my God. Um, Matt LaFleur said earlier this week that I gotta pull up the tweet just to make sure I don't
Hold up.
since I don't misquote Mr. LaFleur, but I'm seemingly not able to find it. All that is to say is that Matt LaFleur said if he thought there needed to be a change made. Oh, here I found it. Matt LaFleur potentially on changing the defensive play caller, aka firing Joe Barry. Quote: If I thought there was an issue there, then I'd certainly make a change. So
That is the best defense Joe Barry has conjured up all year long.
you might be right. You might be right. So, like, I hope he gets fired at the end of the year or sooner. But at this point, I'm just asking the players to put it on themselves to play well. Which who knows how that'll go because it went very poorly last week. They can't tackle. They were just not focused, and they weren't giving a whole lot of effort at times the last few weeks. So this week they should just crush, like without a doubt.
Oh,
If Justin Fields plays, I might have PTSD flashbacks in the game with him running around. He set the record for most rushing yards by a quarterback in an NFL game this year already,
this year.
and we have the worst rushing defense in the league. So it's
That
I'm not. I really hope he doesn't play just for my sanity's sake.
that comment LaFleur made was very interesting because, of course, I saw a lot of Packer fans outraged on Twitter specifically because that is what that platform relies on. As a former outrager of
As a
Jenkins Bucks,
as a recovering outrager.
yeah, recovering outrager. Ever since the Bucks won the title, I'm smooth sailing. Um, and I was thinking, well, a coach wouldn't. Why would what benefits a coach to go out and flame his own defensive coordinator, one that he picked, mind you. And then I thought of the quotes that LaFleur made about Mike Pettin. And I was like, well, he's kind of done that already. So it's not that I wish I probably should have done this pre-pod of looking up the quotes that he made. I think it was certainly after the 49ers championship game, and then Pettin came back, and then definitely after the Buccaneers championship game, because that was when things ended between Pettin and the Packers coach staff. But like I understand the whole coach thing, and what Matt LaFleur says now, they could easily move on from Joe Barry.
Right.
It is just, as we talked about, like Jair specifically, but like they let up 500 yards to the Eagles and 40 points. And if we're being honest, the Eagles were a fluke fumble away from probably having more points.
Yeah.
Like they got everything they wanted that whole game.
Yep.
It did not matter. And I don't know. I
They turned it over once, and the downs play, the fumble play, and then they punted once. Otherwise, they scored on every single drive.
and yeah, that's right. Yeah, they turned over on downs.
Yeah, the downs, the fumble, and then the punt. Otherwise, they scored every single drive.
Yeah, I mean, a performance like that kind of, I feel like it's reinforced everybody's feelings about Joe Barry. I don't know what low you have to reach where for a coach like LaFleur to say like, we're going to cut bait with him mid-season, because at this point, anything that you're doing is not going to reverse your year outside of getting a better draft pick.
Right.
So I think that's the only reason why you keep Joe Barry, is because your draft pick might be 8th or whatever it is at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Because they're just hemorrhaging points. But like, I don't know. That was the thing that I just kept coming back to, is like, well, of course no coach is going to do this. And then I was like, well, LaFleur's already done that.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. Like, if Dre plays, that'll be nice. Just get him back within the swing of things and get some momentum going into next year. Like, he's had a rough year to begin with because he didn't play, or because he just like started off slow and then had gotten injured. So just a rough year for him in general after coming off a strong last year. Like, it sucks that we're finally getting healthy and at the end of the year, but regardless of it all, yeah, just need them to be more focused and wrap up on tackling. And it's really that simple. Like, it shouldn't be that simple, but it kind of is.
It's fundamentals.
Yeah. I don't know if I have too much else, Jordan, about the defense, sadly.
No, it's a sorry state of affairs.
It is a sorry state of affairs.
That's where we're at.
Hopefully, we'll be back with a better podcast, a better feeling podcast, I should say, on Sunday, going into a Victory Monday. That'd be very nice. But before we wrap up, players to watch and score predictions. We weren't gonna let you off that quick, Jordan. We had to do.
Am I starting this week? Right. I think it's.
Go ahead.
Players to watch. Hopefully, Jordan Love. That's where I stand. I'm not gonna.
You're not gonna pick another one?
No. Give me what I want. Stop standing in the way of progress, Aaron Charles Rodgers. You hear me out there. I know you do. Listen to your inner voice and your internal bleeding, and don't play this game.
I'm going to go Aaron Jones and Quay Walker. Aaron Jones for the repeat performance he hopefully has against the Bears this week, sort of building off of week 2. Same thing with Quay Walker as last week. Probably going to have him spy either him or Dre on Justin Fields if he plays, and just make sure that they can not run rampant like Jalen Hurts did. Hopefully that Joe Barry learned from that this week, which I don't think he did. So, with that, let's do score predictions. I can go first with this one since you went first on players. I will say 34-28 Packers. I think they do just enough on offense to squeak out a win, but I think it's going to be another ugly defensive game because obviously.
Yeah. The only thing that the defense. I mean, it's been true of the last couple of weeks is that if they force turnovers,
Yeah.
defense looks better.
Yeah, if only they could do
Hard
anything
hitting
else.
analysis.
Only if they could do anything else.
That's their only way of getting stops. That is, it's incredible.
Truly a wild season of defense.
Mm-hmm. In Chicago, probably gonna be windy, cold.
Did you say it's probably going to be windy in Chicago? It's the Windy City, buddy. Which, like, obviously doesn't mean.
Really?
Which it doesn't mean weather. All you people can leave me alone with your fast facts about Chicago politics.
Please inundate Numac with all this Chicago politics.
Please don't.
We'll see if Aaron Rodgers has the Lori Lightfoot out there and running around. I don't know. I just heard her name and just anyway.
Okay, Jordan.
It's late. 26-23 Bears.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm going out right. I'm saying this right now. If I was confident that Jordan Love was going to play, I would say Packers would win.
Really?
I irrationally believe this.
Fair
He's
enough.
also healthy.
That's true. You're not wrong.
He has a working thumb.
That
I don't believe his
some might
organs
say
are
he has
bleeding. Two working thumbs. And he doesn't have ayahuasca coursing through his bloodstream.
Aya, Jordan. For what it's worth, 42 and windy on Sunday. 18 miles an hour, they're predicting. So, alrighty. A couple things to promote with across the GSPN hub. My brain froze for a second. I had to think of whose name I wanted to say, and it didn't process. Adam and Andrew are recording Cruising for a Bruising tomorrow morning, which is Thursday morning, on the infield grades for the Brewers this past season. Check out their podcast talking about Adam's favorite player, Roddy Tellez, Colton Wong, Willie Adames, Luis Urias, and the rest of the infielders. Like Brasso, Chase Peterson. Check it all out. And then, if I'm not mistaken, Jordan, you are recording One in 6 this week as well with Adam.
Yeah, we may be talking about the 15-5 Bucks, and Chris Middleton seems like he's coming back. Broken by Bucks assistant coach Mike Dunlap, of course. Yeah, plenty to talk about in Bucks land. A team that will not disappoint you, the Milwaukee Bucks.
That's such a great pitch for that.
You're welcome.
Also, if you're looking to win a little giveaway action, a little basketball, I should say a regular size basketball, a normal basketball, signed by the Wisconsin Herd, you have that opportunity through the GSPN Discord. Any of you folks could enter. You just got to submit your favorite GSPN podcast memory into the Discord channel. I think it's just titled giveaway entry with your favorite, and it'll be entered into the mix to win that basketball. You can join the Discord. It's a lot of fun in there by going to gspn.info and just clicking on the Discord link server. It'll get you right in. So between Elon Musk still running Twitter and there being a Wisconsin Herd ball up for grabs in the Discord, what better reason to migrate all of your Bucks fandom takes and community to the GSPN Discord? So it's also where you get to find out about playbacks. We had one tonight for the Bucks game against, I can't even think what they played, the Knicks. So a lot of great stuff going on the Eurostep Podcast Network. That wraps it up for us this week. We'll be back with another Talk of the Tundra episode on Monday, post Bears game. And we'll talk to you then. Jordan, thank you.
Thank you.